Another random fact, too. I think I ever told you this. You ever watch short dogs? Like you ever walked a vertically challenged dog? You ever seen they normally, for whatever reason, try to pee on the higher bushes and look kind of goofy?
No.
Well, they do. Having a midget dog, I've noticed and seen this plenty of times, and somewhere, where it turns out the psychology behind that is because the dog realizes it's probably lower than other dogs. It will hike its leg up. Literally lean it like, probably 45, 60 degree angle to try and pee upwards onto bushes and shit. Simply because when another dog comes by, it'll smell the pee at a higher elevation and thinks that the scent from that dog is a bigger dog.
Well, that's the whole thing, is everything about it is territorial. Like when your dog is sitting there with you and the dog puts its hand or its paw over your hand, did you know that's a sign of dominance?
I've heard that. Sometimes they just want to go pee, though.
Well, sometimes they want to go pee, but pee is marking their territory, so they want to mark their territory as high up as they can.
They're not peeing on me. They just want it outside of the house so they don't get beat.
I don't beat my dog.
Pee's in the house, I do.
Oh, God, we're getting in trouble for that one.
Why? Beat's a subjective word. You take a newspaper, you roll it up, you pop it in the ass once or twice and rub its nose in the pee and say, don't do it again.
Less is more right here, Zeke. Less is more.
I'm just telling you. It's an animal.
Everyone, my name is John Edwards, and with me is Zeke Baker, and together we make the Dad's Drinking Bourbon. Wherever you are, whatever time it is, thank you for making us a part of your day or night. Say hello to the folks, Zeke Baker.
Aloha.
Aloha, and it is not an aloha night right now. It has been pouring in Nashville all day.
You know it's going to be a jacked up day when you hear them announce the high for the day of 48 in April. Then also you look at like the weather timeline for the day, and it shows 1 p.m. at I think 41 or 2 or something. It's like, so 1 p.m. is not the high for the day? No, that was 10 a.m. Yeah, and it's going to rain all day too. Oh man, and I got both kids all day too because daycare may or may not be open.
It is a Good Friday today. And what I would say too is I've had Sophia this week. There was a death in my family, and my wife is away at the funeral, and we knew that we weren't going to take Sophia to a funeral being 3 years old, so there was no point in her and I going. So I have had Sophia all week, and I will just say I have been taking her to the park. We went and got ice cream. We went to the playground. We are going to our friend Jared Thatcher's farm tomorrow. If you know Jared, he does Boot Hill Blades. Great guy. He's just awesome. I'm going to take Sophia up to Jared's farm. We're going to go look at the baby lambs, and we are going to look at the pigs. And
in spirit of your nice trip last weekend, after she sees the baby lambs, she should see how baby lambs are made.
So I should take her back to the zoo and let her see the bears go at it again?
No, I assume if he has a baby lamb, he has adult lambs.
Yeah, he's got a ram.
Well, it's perfect learning. Remember last weekend when you saw all the bears? Yeah. Well, here's the lambs. This is how the lambs come into the world.
I don't know if we have to go that far.
It'd be a great story when she explains it to her mom when she gets back.
Oh, I just can't wait. Her mom is going to get back.
Guess what I learned?
I learned about lambs.
Have you ever heard of Red Rocket?
No, I don't think I'm ever going to teach her that. Oh, my God. Here we were having a nice conversation about the kids, and you just made it go way down.
Hey, look, we don't necessarily always get to do nighttime shows anymore. This is our first blind, and I don't know when. It's hard to find that old groove of these type of things. So I'm just feeling my way around and seeing where the cards may fall.
You're feeling your way around a lot of red rockets right now is what you're doing.
Oh, another random story. I still remember this because I was petrified.
Get your popcorn, everyone.
I'm a little kid. I don't know what, like 4th, 5th, 6th grade probably. Go to get a new baseball glove, me and Pops. And so we're sitting there, looking at them at whatever Hibbett Sports or wherever it was back then. And, checking a few of them out. And here comes, some store clerk. I'm sure she's a high schooler and attractive female or whatever. And like, hey, just the obligatory, you guys need any help? Pops just looks at her. Nah, we're just fingering them out. Never flinches. I'm like, oh. What the? And he just looks at me and winks. I'm like, Dad, wow, I gotta go. I can't even stand in the store right now.
Apple doesn't fall too far from the tree, does it?
Let's just say I started picking up things at a tender age.
Let's just say that you could. So here we were for pulling back the cover of the podcast. We were thinking about what we were going to do for a cold open. I always like to get some Zeke wisdom in there. And I said, Zeke, what wisdom do you have for this week? And he goes, you're putting me on the spot. I don't have anything. And now you've just come out with 3 great stories, all of which would have been good for a cold open.
You have those moments when you try to think of something and you can't. And then all of a sudden, it just flashes right in your mind. Like Alex and I were messaging this week about something. I can't remember what it was, but I told him, I said, I just can't remember what it is. And then like 15 minutes later, I'm like, boom. He's like, yeah, Google's great, dummy. I'm like, no, I really didn't Google it. Like I waited on the brain to come in. This thing's still got some, a few power left.
You're like, I went to the back. I got the jumper cables. Yeah. I gave it a good little shock, and then all
stuck my big toe in that socket.
I should mention for all of you listening, happy Easter. If you celebrate, hope you had a great Easter. Zeke, are you going to do anything good this weekend for Easter?
I was told that we're going to attempt to go to services, attempt 1 or 2 egg hunts. Although, as much as it's rained today, even though knowingly the kids would, or Layla can't participate, but knowing whatever Charleston would wear would never fit him again, especially not next Easter. I just don't want to see the kid in good clothes, soggy mud, bottomed up.
All I know is that I'm bringing Sophia's mud boots, like her rain and mud boots, up to the farm tomorrow. I'm bringing 2 sets of clothes. I know she's going to get dirty. I know I'm going to have to put stuff in the back of the truck. But you and I were actually thinking about going to the zoo to the Easter egg hunt. And there's just so many people, and it's going to be wet in that field.
I think Sophia, and it's probably been working with like a tall kitchen bag. Just have her put her legs through the bottom, bottom.
Yeah.
And then put the rain boots on and pull it up some. And she could put her arms through like the top neck part of the tall kitchen bag. And you just kind of like cinch it in under her armpits with something. Like just put a small belt around her or something.
You mean a poor man's poncho?
Don't get mud from head to toe. Protect it.
But it was, last year we did the zoo Easter egg hunt. We're going to go to Fontenelle for Easter. And there's a brunch. And then I think they're going to do an Easter egg hunt on Sunday. So that'll be good. But man, it would have been crazy. The zoo one is crazy, and all these kids knock each other over, and Sophia's a bruiser, so I just knew that if we went there, she'd knock some kids over, and I'd have here's the thing, and guys, I'm sorry, we're talking about kids, and we'll get to the whiskey here in a second, but here's the thing. When you are a dad, and you have your kid out on your own, whatever your kid does, people look at you like, well, of course your kid's doing that. You're the dad. Like, you're out and you're the dad. And of course your kid's acting up. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's one of those things that if Sophia was bruising people and bumping into them, I know I'd get looks from other people. Like, of course she's doing that. Where's her mom?
I think it's more how you respond and or reprimand. That's what I go with. Kids are going to be kids, man. But how the parent handles, like, whatever they do, I think that's where you measure out the merit or the integrity of the source.
Oh, I know. And I respond well. I'm not trying
to... Yeah, you say, next one's 2 points.
I said, I'll give you your $10 when we get back to the car.
Yeah, maybe that one's still standing. Try again.
You know what Sean Payton did with the Saints? Anyways, let's talk about whiskey here for a second. And I do want to mention before we get into this blind, for those of you that remember, we went back and did a show with Pennington Distilling Company in Nashville, Tennessee. They have released their single barrel of the Tennessee Sour Mash. That was picked by Ashley Barnes. If you know Ashley Barnes, you know she has a tremendous palate. But I just want to give you a heads up. It's a distillery-only pick of Tennessee Sour Mash. So that is a great thing. We Don't make any money off of it. There's nothing tied to it. This is just a distillery in town giving some local love for people that follow Dad's Drinking Bourbon, and I think it's great. And thank you, Jeff, and all the folks over at Pennington, to be able to do that for our listeners. And we just want to show people where there's good whiskey, and that single barrel is damn good.
And they even have this cool new type of wax that can be twisted off with hand. No pull tabs, no nothing.
Yeah.
I didn't get the details of what it is, but cutting edge technology.
I should have asked him when I was over there the other day getting my single barrel, but I will ask him again. Or for the first time.
Yeah, I'll ask him again what I meant to should ask him again.
Yeah, I'll get a do-over. Anyways, so our friend Bryant, and anybody who follows him on Instagram, it's Bryant on Bourbon. It's Bryant_on_Bourbon. He is on Twitter too. He is one of the loyal turkeyites. He is what they say in A Christmas Story, where he's like, he was a turkey carnosaurus, or
I don't know this.
You know how the dad in A Christmas Story always likes turkey, like he loves turkey, and they do the scene, and then the dogs come in and eat the turkey. I forget how I forget how Ralphie described his dad.
I do truly enjoy how both of us have an affinity for certain movies, and what you recollect and what I recollect are never the same scenes, and usually not even the same movies at times. But there's just that strong emotion behind the scene and the picture we try to paint.
Yeah.
Hopefully, between the two of us, these folks listening get something out of us. I mean, at least we're diverse and shit, we don't even try.
Somebody's going to tell us, though, what is in what he said, but it's like he's a turkey carnosaurus or something. But anyways, Bryant loves wild turkey, and he loves other stuff too, but he sent us a blind of 4 whiskeys. Thank you so much, Bryant, for doing that. This is one of my favorite shows whenever we do this, because we have no idea what these 4 whiskeys are. We just know we have an envelope, and Bryant sent it to us, and we are going to open the envelope at the end and say what these are.
Even better, I bogarted the envelope, so I get to do the reveal for once.
I know. And there's nothing to set up. We don't know what the proof is right now. We don't even know what they are. We just know we had 4 bottles that were labeled sample 1, sample 2, sample 3, sample 4.
I will say that I do know what this labeled as Zeke's sidepour is of Seagram's Benchmark 1982 birth year.
Did I get a side pour?
You're not known for a side pour.
Can I take a sip of your side pour?
Yeah, I just don't go for my side piece.
I don't sip on another man's Kool-Aid. That's all I'll say. That's whiny.
How about another man's Tang?
No. Just like an astronaut, I sip my own Tang.
There's a lot of places I feel like that could run, and I'm just going to let it ride out.
I was probably more innocent than you thought in that comment. It came out wrong. That's one of those ones where I was like, let's turn the car around and go someplace else. Anyways, man, that's good, though.
No, it is. I mean, dusty stuff. And what I appreciate about it the most, honestly, the fact that it's Seagram's, because I don't think anyone other than probably folks significantly older than us would look at Seagram's and think of quality product. But, just as a random side tangent, like when, we were with the Old Elk folk and Metz was talking about all the different tests and random experiments, essentially, that Seagram's ran back in the 50s and 60s to see what kind of variables and how they affected the juice and other things. At one point, just like this says, benchmark, I feel like they were possibly the benchmark of distilling.
Now it's Seagram's and 7.
Wow.
So there's 4 of these. We did something interesting. As always, Zeke and I tasted these, but we did not share notes. We had this before we started recording. I didn't go ahead and fast forward the tape this time because we just needed to do this so we could get it down, start talking to each other. There's 4 of these, but we picked, based off of the nose, which one we thought was going to be the best. Now, before we get into this and start talking about it, which one off of the nose did you say you thought was... It's just something fun, guys, that we thought we would try. Just try to identify which one we think we're going to like the most off of the nose.
So, empirical nose knowledge here. I had 3 is what I enjoyed the most. 1 is coming in second place. 2 coming in third, and 4 coming in fourth. Don't worry, folks. We'll link this in together. Don't try to write this down or keep up with it. We're just throwing it out there so we know.
No, and this is just fun because we're saying as we go through this, you guys can follow along and know which one we thought was going to be. See, I didn't rank them. You just said, John, let's do something fun, and you tell me which one you think is going to be the best.
Yeah, we just like seeing how much, sometimes a nose does follow a pour perfectly, and sometimes it's a complete 180.
I just said I thought 3 was going to be the best nose, or I thought 3 was the best nose, so we actually agreed.
You're learning
on something. So before we open the envelope, what was your ranking on these in general? And then we'll do tasting notes at the very end.
Honestly, this one held true to form for me. I very simply, granted the palate didn't match the nose necessarily as far as the profile, but looking back at them and how I would rank them, I would stick to exactly the same way as I ranked them before I tasted them, just on nose alone.
And what was that again?
I had 3 is the first one, 1 is the second, 2 is 3, and 4 is 4.
Interesting, because I had 3, 4, 2, 1 was my ranking. I think, before we open the envelope, Bryant's a turkey guy. I think 2 of these are turkey, and I think they're 3 and 4.
See, I was kind of all over, and I had the same thought. Was he loves turkey, also has a fair amount of Four Roses, I'm more than certain. And then I laughed, like, if I had to guess what any of these are, I could just ambiguously put Four Roses or Russells for all of them, and probably going to get at least 1, if not 2, right?
Because I think number 2 is a Four Roses.
So with that, at the same time, I just couldn't let myself even try to guess what they were, because I felt like I'm either going to set myself up to fail miserably, or I'm just going to take the low road and still get 1 or 2 right and be like, I thought all of them were Four Roses or Russells, because there's so much variance in both.
I know.
It wouldn't be a BS move.
2, and when we get into the notes, we'll talk about this, but it was so floral to me that I thought 2 was Four Roses. And I could already tell Zeke and I have different notes. So before we get in too deep, let's open the envelope.
Oh, man. I love it when you say floral and my notes don't say anything about it.
Well,
but
you have been stuffy lately.
The world has been, I think. At least you live in Middle Tennessee. 1, Four Roses OESK, a 10-year, 1-month, 58.5% pick from Morganelli's in Columbia, South Carolina. 2, Russell's Reserve Single Barrel, Camp Nelson's F. Oh, wow.
What?
It's the rare bird pick. That's interesting. 3, Russell's Reserve Single Barrel, Rickhouse Inn, Jay's Bottle Shop in Athens, Georgia. This is back from 2014. I know he's told me about this pick before.
Did you go visit there before?
2014 was well past my prime, and anywhere I shopped at, I may not be in business anymore. I don't know. That was some years ago. Sample 4, OWA NCF, Wholesale Wine and Spirits, Sumter, South Carolina.
We were somewhat in the wheelhouse. I wasn't expecting the OWA, but we were somewhat in the wheelhouse of what we were expecting.
I'm going to laugh knowing these are reading out some notes.
Well, let's go ahead and do it. So what'd you get for number 1?
Number 1, I thought it was musty, minty, smoky. It almost at some point reminded me of like charcoals off a barbecue grill or something, really. And then kind of like developing on that theme, I ended up going into a well-done steak with easily a fair amount of salt on it. I ate steak well done.
You've had like the tasting notes the past 2 episodes. You're like, this is bacon and salt. And now you're like, this is steak and salt.
Well, I mean, for supper, I had chicken salad. Not mixed chicken salad, but chicken with lettuce. But I don't know, dude. Palate-wise, it gave me some weird berry flavor that I could not really place. Maybe something between tea berry or elderberry, and I even had to look those up to make sure that was what I was perceiving. For whatever reason, it seemed to have a chalky feel, and I know it's not really the best note, but For those of us old enough that had to write on the boards at school repeatedly, some Bart Simpson-esque type thing, you know what it feels like to have chalkboard dust in your mouth.
No, we would always get in trouble because I went to Catholic school. We would always get in trouble because every time we got to go out to recess, we would just wrestle. And people would jump off the top rope, being like jump off the top of the swing and or the slide, and we would come in and our ties would all be, ripped and loose, and our shirts would be dirty, and we weren't really allowed out to recess a lot, but we would have to clean the chalkboards whenever we got in trouble. We had to stay for recess and wash the chalkboards, and just that taste that you get, almost you can't help it, but you get it in your mouth as you're washing those. And it's funny you say that. I'm going to let you finish and get to your finish.
Uh-huh.
No, you're good?
Yeah. No, I don't do finish too much.
But I got the same thing on my palate. The funny thing is, the nose for me, I got malted chocolate. But the taste, I said it was chalky, hot, and spicy cinnamon red hot. And at first, I thought I would really like this one more. But I got a super singe from it. Which is funny because it's only 117 proof. It's not like a higher proof Four Roses, but I just got burned. Like it was, the finish wasn't bad. There was nice warmth in the chest, but my mouth was on fire like hot chicken. I wrote, I might need some milk because it was not one of those ones that had heat or spice like that. To me, it was like I ate hot pizza and I burnt my mouth.
What was it, the first pour?
It was the first pour, but I had to warm up before you got over.
Okay, because being cast strength in the first pour, that's a factor at least.
But it is one of those things where I was like, man, this one's hot. Like, and I even went back to it after I had others, just because I was like, this is a little hot. It scorched my mouth.
Wow. Yeah, I didn't get anywhere near any of that, but.
All right, we'll switch off. Number 2, which was the Russell's Reserve. It is the Rare Bird 1 in a Century. I liked this one. I put it third, but it easily could have tied second for me. I think when we get down, because at first I only picked number 3 that I liked the best, and then the rest I was looking back at my notes saying what were the other ones I kind of liked. But 2, I said it was a floral bouquet on the nose. I got floral notes, caramel, and vanilla on the taste. I was keeping all this pretty simple. And then I said slight spice in my mouth, but overall it goes down smooth. It was a very enjoyable pour. There wasn't anything bad with it.
You really don't like the the original nose in here on this one.
Go ahead.
First thing I got was literally like mixing up burger meat in a bowl. Raw burger meat with a little light seasoning, a little Worcestershire, etc., and you're making burger patties.
We gotta get you to go vegan or something, man.
If I use tofu or something as a note, people are gonna punch me.
The funny thing is, as I revisit this now that I know what it is, and it's all biased, but it's also been sitting out for a little bit. Mm-hmm. The finish, you get that funk. It really.
I tried it as you were talking, and I didn't get it as much as I remember on the pours from the bottle. But what I do notice about it, and kind of similar to like the sidepour we had recently, is just an amazing viscosity and thickness that it's just big and bold, and maybe there's not a ton of complexity in the variety of flavors, but everything that's there is just kind of ramped up and just big.
And whenever I'm mentioning caramel and vanilla, because you can pretty much say caramel and vanilla for any bourbon, but when I mention that, those are the things, because that kind of comes back to the viscosity that you were talking about. If I get caramel, I am thinking of like a caramel candy, like caramel that's in the middle of a candy bar, like that thick, viscous caramel. Mm-hmm. Whenever I mention caramel, that's what I think of. If it's like a thin caramel, I never really mention that, but this is something thick that's like in the middle of a candy bar. It's definitely got some substance to it. I think it's one of those ones too, and I'll shut up and let you finish, but I think it's one of those ones too that is a it's like Four Roses 130th. It does better when you let it sit out for a little bit.
Could easily see that one too. So moving on past the burger meat, I got copper pipe, some mint, and the nose itself was just somewhat faint. Thinking about it, and 3/4 of the way through a bottle, I really don't know how often I ever really nosed it. I think really this was just straight taster for me always. So I don't know. I have to think about it and check the bottle when I get home. But
I like when we were tasting this, and we try not to talk to each other too much while we're going through this because we want to save it for the show. But you said 2 is kind of a faint number 1, isn't it? And it's funny, it kind of knows like that Four Roses.
yeah, palate wise, put down it has some oak to it for sure, but it was not a bitter or drying oak. That was just the main flavor that kind of popped up across the tongue. There was vanilla that came in behind it, and then after that, a good rye sensation that just built up from mid to back, and it never got overwhelming. As we mentioned, the viscosity of the pour, that kind of just built up and progressed all the way through, definitely starting around the mid palate. I guess my turn to keep the ball rolling here. Number 3, which was another Russell's pick, this one back 2014 and out of Jay's Bottle Shop in good old Classic City, Georgia. Go Dogs. Fruity and floral, especially the first time I sniffed it. I got very tart cherries, like the dark red ones, almost even as dark as a cranberry, but I just visually, that was what I saw. I mean, it was right there in my mind. After that, it seemed to show just a little bit of youth. I put down that it was kind of almost grainy and grassy a little bit at times, just from some younger products we've had. And then just very, thin hits of caramel, and kind of to your theme of, the thickness. This would be more like a Charleston Chew kind of product, where you have very light colored caramel with like the sugars in the middle. That's where it was.
I said it was a red wine turkey funk, is kind of what I just equated the nose to. And then the taste, I said it was floral, vanilla, caramel, slight leather with a little bit of chocolate.
Red wine turkey funk, is that one of the Master's Keeps?
There is a red wine Master's Keep, but it was more where I was going with that. It was kind of a fruity turkey funk. Okay. I could get the fruit on there on the nose. The finish, I said it just sticks around for the right amount of time. Great finish, lingers nicely, only a slight hug, just good.
I got you. And actually, I think I forgot to do palate for that one. It just had a dusty feel to me. Some of the dusties just seemed, I don't think it's oxidized, but just the whole texture of it at first seems different. I honestly thought he double dipped me on the side pour just to see if I would pick it up. And which I wasn't sure of till trying that later. It had a fair rye presence, somewhere between a York peppermint patty or thin mints, but added sugars to it. It's hard to describe without thinking of a specific product, but definitely just young sugars in there. There's plenty of candies in the world.
4, this was just an off-profile OWA. I just went back and sipped it again. What?
Oh no, I'm giving that look because I'm like, yeah.
Well,
I'll save my piece until you roll.
Sometimes when I get that look, it's kind of a look and John, what the hell are you saying? But this is a very off-profile OWA. I went back and tasted it again. I'm like, I'm still not getting OWA from this, and I even know it's OWA at this point. It noses like a white wine to me. It was not nosing like anything I would get from an OWA. The taste, I even said, is fruity and floral. It doesn't taste like 107. I'm not getting a burn. There was a slight spice in my mouth, but other than that, it was very smooth. It just wasn't what I would have expected from an OWA.
Same here, and he didn't put down the year of when this came out. My gut would tell me, based on last year's stuff, this was probably a last year's pick. Nose-wise, I have faint mint, even fainter sweetness, anything. It just kind of reminds you of what you smell while you're chewing Wrigley's gum. It bewilders me just simply the fact of mint showing up on notes with a wheater again. But we've had it not only from us, but other people in shows. And you just kind of go back to they put wheat in there to replace the rye. The rye is supposed to be the mint. I agree, this does not taste like OWA that I've had in my mind at all. Palate-wise, again, I put down predominantly mint, even to the point of clove and oak together, and then just a very light chocolate. And tasting it now, I wouldn't say anything any differently. It definitely doesn't change anything to me knowing that it's OWA, and it still tastes the same, which is, I don't think either one of us as a reflex would say, yeah, good OWA right there, yep.
And I know we know what they are, and I was very torn, because when you said do your ranking and you went, I was only prepared to do 3. I am definitely a 3-2-4-1 on this. I'm still at 1, scorched me a little bit. But I am definitely 3-2. The Russells win this one out for me.
The 1 and 2 between those two Four Roses and the Rare Bird pick, I was more or less 50-50 on. Neither one was strong enough for me to change what I'd felt from the nose. 3 definitely was still...
3 was consistent.
It's what I thought was the best one. And 4 I definitely didn't care for the most.
I didn't mind 4. I didn't mind it. I still am getting a little heat even now from 1. And this is after we've gone through everything. I've gone back. I'm still getting a little heat there. It's got a little creamy, but now it's creamy heat. I'm still getting heat on it. So I just say, Bryant, if you have any more of that 2014 Russells, holler at your boy.
If he's got that, it's put up.
Yeah.
2014.
I know he's got, hopefully he had a case and he has one for each of us. And then we'd be really, or we'll just do a bottle split. We're not greedy.
Yeah, 90-10.
Yeah, you'd say, hey, John, I finally want to thank you for all the work you do for the show while I just show up and drink.
I do work.
Kind of.
Like a post a month.
You did post today.
I posted twice this week.
Yes.
Twice.
You get 2 gold stars.
Won't be anything for the next 3 weeks, though.
Anyways, hope you all had a great Easter. You will see us this week. If you are at the Nashville Cocktail Festival, please come say hi to us. We are going to be there. If you have tickets to the sold-out Husk dinner and Jim Beam experience Thursday night, we will be there. Please come say hi to us. Please also find us on Facebook at Dad's Drinking Bourbon. Find us on Instagram at Dad's Drinking Bourbon. Twitter at Bourbon Dads. Join our Facebook group. Answer a couple questions. Come in. We'd love to have you. Please find us on your favorite podcast app, which I figured you already have. Please leave us an open and honest review. Those reviews really help us. It helps other people find our show. So please go ahead and go in there and give us a review. Zeke, where else can the folks find us?
Good old Nashville, Tennessee. Oh, I know what I was thinking. Oh, other folks have sent us blinds. We have them. We're working to get there. This was just the first one in the queue. We hope to have some more of these old school blind shows pumped out in the next week or 3, hopefully.
It is our bread and butter.
Don't hold us to it, but we're trying to get there. Sorry, just been a busy little stretch of time.
Cheers.
Ciao.